My name is Trevor Hauer, and you're watching Sports Hour.
I love sports. Sports Hour.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first spring episode of Sports Hour. I'm your host, Trevor Hauer. We got Sara Gordon here. We got 22 minutes here to recap some NFL playoffs, including a Super Bowl that just happened 2 days ago.
Right.
Sara, it's good to be back. It's good to talk some NFL football.
This is our last semester.
I don't want to think about that right now.
Okay, sorry.
I really don't, because I know it's going to be a really,
Don't
really
leave me
sad
hanging.
time.
Don't
So
leave me hanging. Okay.
we'll get through it together.
We will.
But I mean,
we're gonna have a good. This is gonna be good.
it'll be good. We're gonna do some.
so
You're gonna see some crazy outfits this last semester, because I'm gonna go all out. All right, I'm going to go all out
Expecting you to.
because it's the last semester, so every week expect something a little outrageous. But yeah, anyway, NFL season just ended.
Yes.
And we have a long time to discuss every little thing that happened in this NFL season.
Yep.
But more specifically, the playoffs. I can go through who made it on the AFC side, who made it on the NFC side. Let's start in the AFC.
But
Seventh seed.
Wait, before we get to that, sorry, not to cut you off, Mr. Host. Before we get to the postseason, or the playoffs, I should say.
We got to talk about the bum teams that didn't make it.
I mean, we could. No, but I was just going to say, I mean, I've talked to you all out there know that I'm a huge Bills fan. And I finally got to go to my very first Bills game. So that was just super exciting. And it was the game right after Damar Hamlin. And that was obviously a huge event that went down. And we're so thankful that he's alive. And that was a miracle in itself.
Yeah, it was.
It really was. And so that was probably one of the most incredible atmospheres I've ever been in my entire life.
Had to have been a sellout crowd, especially after that happened.
Yeah.
Where they canceled the game, or they
stopped
absolutely
the game.
canceled the game.
Yeah.
It was going to be suspended, then it was postponed because of what happened that night, and then they just never got back to it. It was just a complete cancellation. I think fans got their money back. But then the week after, they played the Patriots, and Heinz House 2 won on it was two kickoff returns.
Two kickoff returns.
Which was the first one took place 13 seconds into the game, and then the second one was in I think it was in the third or fourth quarter, something like that.
I could still see it. I could still see it happening. It was just amazing to be there, and it was 3 years, because Damar Hamlin was number 3.
Yep.
3 years and 3 months since the last kickoff return the Bills have had.
Yeah,
It was just the universe at work. It was crazy.
No, you can't.
You can't write that.
Yeah, you can't write that no matter what the latest trends are on social media.
No matter
NFL
what
scripted.
they say, scripted. No.
Yep.
Try again.
Try again. Thanks.
But anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. It was just a fun time for me.
And before we get into the playoffs, I like how we went into that first. We could go over some of the teams that really didn't do anything. Chicago Bears have the first overall pick, 3-14 going into this year's draft. The Houston Texans decided, you know what, week 18, let's make the draft order a little bit fun. We have the first round pick, or the first overall pick, secured. Let's just screw around and win and lose our first overall pick. And they did, 3-13-1. They got the second overall pick. Arizona Cardinals, 4-13. They have the third overall pick. Colts, 4-12-1, fourth overall pick. Let's get that franchise quarterback. Denver Broncos, 5-12 on the year. They pick 5th. Rams pick 6th. Raiders pick 7th. Falcons pick 8th. Browns pick 9th. Saints pick 10th. Panthers 11th. Titans 12th. Jets 13th. Packers 14th. Patriots 15th. Commanders 16th. Lions, who were so close from making the playoffs, picking 17th.
I know, I was bummed about that one.
They finished 9-8 though. They had a winning record.
They did.
Now it's just about making the playoffs.
I'm scared. They're going to be really good next year, I think.
Yeah, and did you hear what Dan Campbell said? Last time we did a show was like week 14 or 15,
It
I
was
want
a
to say.
while- Yeah, it
Something like
was
that.
A while ago. It's been, since before Christmas. So,
Yeah. But if you go back to like week 18, Dan Campbell and the Lions faced against the Green Bay Packers to go to the playoffs. Or it was like Detroit was already out, but if Green Bay were to win, they were going to clinch a spot in the playoffs. Detroit beat Green Bay in Green Bay, and head coach for the Lions, Dan Campbell, said, well, if we're not going to the playoffs, neither is Aaron Rodgers. I thought that was so savage.
It was.
A rivalry at the tippity top of the NFL between the Lions and the Packers. It's so good. Then Pittsburgh Steelers 9-8 barely missed the playoffs. But those are the top 18 picks. The rest of the teams did clinch a playoff spot. Let's start in the AFC side rather. Dolphins got the 7th seed. Ravens got the 6th seed. Chargers got the 5th seed. Jacksonville got the 4th overall seed at 9-8. NFL, you got to fix your I don't know how you decide they get the 4th seed when
crazy.
2 10-7 teams were behind you in the standings. Then you have the Bengals, who finished 12-4, got the 3rd overall seed. Bills got the 2 seed, and the Chiefs got the 1 seed, ultimately the Super Bowl champions. NFC side, Seahawks 7th, Giants 6th, Cowboys 5th, Buccaneers 4th, Vikings 3rd, Niners 2nd, and the Eagles, who also went to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl runner-ups got the 1st overall seed. So I know you watch the Super Bowl, and you have your own little opinions on it. You have your own opinions on whether or not you think the NFL is scripted. But it was boring, okay? Both number 1 seeds made the Super Bowl when you had the Bengals, who were the 3rd seed that made it to the AFC Championship game, and you had the 49ers with a 3rd-string quarterback in the NFC Championship game.
I was so upset. I really wanted to see the 49ers in there.
So did I.
And
But
I really am a fan of Brock Purdy. I mean,
that story was great.
it was. I mean, talk about the ultimate underdog.
3rd-string
It's
quarterback,
crazy.
and he got absolutely destroyed
Yeah.
in the game. I don't even know if it was an upper body injury or what it was, but he did not come back. They had to put Josh Johnson in, who was the 4th seed or 4th-string quarterback. He got taken out because of a concussion, then they put in their 5th-string quarterback.
Right.
Philly won that game 31-7, and I don't think anybody's really surprised by that. The Bengals were so close to going back to the Super Bowl. I would have rather watched Cincinnati versus Philly in the Super Bowl. That's just my honest opinion. I want to see Joe Burrow get that other shot at the bowl. But you know what? Maybe that's for another year. But Kansas City
if the
clinched the
Bills can help
division
it.
and the home field advantage. They won the Super Bowl. But if you go back to the AFC divisional round, we're just going backwards here. What happened in that Bills game versus the Cincinnati Bengals? All we heard going into it was this AFC Championship game is going to be so cool to be played in Atlanta. I already bought my tickets. That's what every
Yeah.
Bills fans were saying. And I'm like, you're overlooking a really, really flashy Cincinnati Bengals team.
Yeah.
Like, why?
It's hard. I think we get to that point and it's just the pride and the belief. And this goes for every team, not just the Bills. It's just like every team. You get to that point, you're like, okay, I gotta prepare now because we are gonna make it. But then there is all the ultimate factor that in fact you're not. And this was a real bummer of a game. And I don't know, there was not that, and we put so much pressure on athletes to push aside personal things in the game. And whether that's right or wrong, it's something that we kind of forget about as the fans sometimes. And I think that became clear, especially after Damar Hamlin.
They went through a
went down
lot.
the field.
The Bills in
The
general
Bills
went through a
did,
lot.
But it did really seem like this game something was going on, and we don't know what, but it was the Bills just never were able to get into it.
Yeah, you could tell by the first drive of the game that the Bengals had, this is going to be a tough game for the Bills.
Yeah.
But I don't care how many times people say this, snow is going to be in Buffalo's favor. Snow does not favor anyone in the game of football.
It does not.
Believe it or not, Cincinnati, Ohio does get snow.
Right.
So they have seen that before.
Right. It doesn't matter how many times you play in it. It can always be different.
Yeah,
The
it's always a
wind is
different
huge
atmosphere.
factor. It's the
Missing
grounds-
kicks,
yeah,
slipping,
yeah.
receivers
Even
dropping passes,
Yeah.
even in the Super Bowl.
I was just about to say that. Can we talk about the Super Bowl being, what was it?
That was
new
experimental grass that they were using. Never play a Super Bowl in Arizona again. I think the first one was Russell Wilson pick at the goal line. I think that was the first one they played in Arizona.
Yeah.
And then they played whatever this was.
I mean, if you're using experimental grass for the Super Bowl game, I don't know about that one.
That's just such an NFL thing. That's just such an NFL thing right there.
Bit, yeah.
But I gotta shout out the Vikings for letting me down again. I had them going to I think it was NFC divisional round, but they were the first round exits in the wild card, and I was thinking, you know what? If you're 13-4 and you won the NFC North, which is very, very hard, and it's been run through Aaron Rodgers for all these years, and you're out in the first round, like, when are you ever going to get the shot at the Super Bowl? I think it's going to be tough things for the Minnesota Vikings. Can we talk about Tampa Bay and Mr. Tom Brady finally retiring from the NFL?
It's official this time.
I think it is.
But
I mean, they're raffling off the sand around the area that he retired in on eBay for like $90,000.
The things that this world comes to.
You got to get lives, people. I don't even know if he touched that sand that you put in the thing.
Like, what is having the sand that Tom Brady may have sat in gonna do for you? I mean, do you think it's gonna...
Put a down payment on a car, a boat, a house.
Do anything.
Become mayor of the city with that money. I don't know. But they finished 8-9, and Tom Brady's final send-off was a loss to a team that he was 7-0 against in his career in the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, I mean, it's fun to watch for me as a Bills fan, but... I mean, Tom Brady should have retired a couple years ago. Like,
he should have retired after he came back and beat Atlanta down 28-3. That should have been his last game. Yeah. Peyton Manning's last game was a Super Bowl win, Super Bowl 50 against the Panthers. Yeah. Perfect send-off.
Exactly.
Tom Brady
is just...
I want to come back.
Embarrass himself.
Yep.
And, like, I can get it from a standpoint. It's like, you know, if he loves the game that much, like...
Yeah, he loves it more than his wife, apparently.
Right, well, that's bad. It's not a good look for him.
Happy Valentine's Day, Tom. And then we have, the Giants ended up beating the Vikings. Can we talk about that? Let's go back to the AFC. Bills, Dolphins, wild card. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but we're just kind of going over the highlighted playoff games that we've seen since we've left.
This should not have been this way either. Like, the Bills in the playoffs this year was stressful. And, like, last year was that incredible as much as, like, it ended badly for the Bills afterwards.
One of the best games.
The best games ever in existence. The Kansas City and Bills game in the playoffs last year.
That was like, 21 combined points in the last 2 minutes and 12 seconds of the game?
It was incredible.
It was awesome.
And I low-key want to watch it back again, even though it'll make me sad.
But cut it off at like the 4-second mark.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like I just love watching good football. And you look at the scores, 34-31, you're like, oh, probably was a good game, but
the Bills were running away with it, like 17-0 early in that game. I'm like, I went into that game thinking Skylar Thompson starting for the Dolphins. They're missing their number one running back in Raheem Mostert. They're going to lose 36-7 or 31-7, I think my prediction was. I'm like, then I see them go up 17-0. I'm like, okay, this game's probably over. And then we're listening to the game on the radio because we're driving somewhere. I don't even remember where it was. And we hear that Josh Allen fumbles from his own 22-yard line. Yeah. And it's recovered in the end zone. We're like, what just happened? 22-yard line, and you've recovered it in your own end zone for a touchdown. We're like, the Dolphins just took the lead. Like, what just happened?
It was a very scary game to watch. I was watching it with my cousin, actually, and it was not... Like, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, and, like, thank God we pulled out that win at first, because if we had gone out against the Dolphins in the first round this season,
could you even imagine?
I don't want to imagine. But, like, this is what the Bills have to... They have a lot of things to fix, I think, on their O-line. Like, and definitely also just... They need to have more consistency. It's weird. The Bills are weird. I feel like from week to week, they vary. Because sometimes...
We're very weird this year.
Yeah, like, sometimes they'll be able to come back in the fourth quarter and have this, like, energy and, like, pull it off and just pull ahead. But then other weeks they will give up so many points and then barely hang on in the end.
Right.
And so I think they just got to find their strong point and hold on to that and not have it vary from week to week, not be so inconsistent. And they can't give up so many points. They do it in the second quarter a lot.
They do. Second
can't-
quarter is their worst quarter by far.
Absolutely.
That's when they kind of let the teams go back in the game. They kind of start off like really, really hot in the first quarter. Then they kind of take their foot off the gas a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they let teams start to come back. And then they kind of put them away in the fourth quarter.
Right.
It's usually a shootout in the third, and then they usually put them away in the fourth.
Yeah.
But that Dolphins game had no business being that close.
No, it did not.
But Skylar Thompson's, I think his dad was in attendance, so that must have been pretty cool for him. Because I don't know, you got to be honest. Did he go in that game with high hopes? I don't think any Dolphins fan really would go into that game with high hopes, but it was a crazy game nonetheless.
It was.
Are you one of those Bills fans that's like, blow it all up, I've seen enough, like we can never get over the hump, go back to the Super Bowl, get a number 2 receiver? I've been hearing a lot of overreactions from Bills fans.
I am never a blow it up kind of person.
Listen, I root for a team in Indiana that's completely freaking unwatchable, okay? And you're complaining, but you're consistently going to the playoffs every single year.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to imagine what that feels like because Peyton Manning's been gone for how long? Right. So.
Yeah, I am never, and I never will be someone who is like, blow it all up. I mean, there is a time and place to start from scratch, but I think we have super close to the formula of what we need to finally get all the way as the Bills.
They have the tools, I think, but I don't think they have the right people to execute the job.
Yeah.
Like, Ken Dorsey is a very big question mark in my eyes. I mean, you have to be composed, and like he's not even on the field. He's an offensive coordinator in the press box. When you're throwing tantrums and the Fox Sports cameras pick that up, like you're not
early on, though.
Well, it was, but I mean,
but I get it. There is a certain composure you have to hold.
like you see Eric Bieniemy of the Chiefs, the offensive coordinator, just so calm. Like
Right.
35-35 tie game.
Yeah.
His team's driving down the field. He's getting closer and closer to winning the Super Bowl, and he's just kind of laid back. He's like, all right, do your thing.
Yeah.
Like, they have the tools on offense. I think they need to get a number 2 receiver because Gabe Davis with the 50% catch percentage this year is not
cutting it.
That's like number 3 or 4 receiver. You got to get an established number 2.
Right. I would agree with that for sure. And I think
Diggs is your number 1. No question.
That's what they also didn't. They got away from it, and you could see the frustration from Diggs too.
He was mad.
He was so mad, and I don't blame him.
He was yelling at Josh. He was yelling at Josh. He was so mad.
I know, and they're supposed to be besties. So I mean, you never know what's gonna happen. But I think, well, like you need the balance of players. Like you need a Diggs, and you need like a Josh Allen because they can balance each other out. Where like Diggs is always gonna, he'll tell you the truth. He won't be afraid to put it out there.
Because there were cases in that Cincinnati game where he was wide open, and Allen would force it into double coverage to Gabe Davis, and Diggs is like, what am I just standing out here doing nothing?
Exactly.
But I mean, they tried to fill that gap with guys like Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, old veteran players, maybe young rookies. I mean, Shakir looked pretty good as a rookie.
He did, yeah.
And he wasn't even a top 3. What was he, a 3rd rounder? 4th rounder? Maybe he was a 5th rounder. He wasn't a first rounder. But
yeah, he wasn't a first rounder.
If you're going to draft one. But, I mean, maybe trade for a young vet receiver. If you have to get rid of maybe a piece on defense because they have some free agents on defense now.
Right.
I mean, Jordan Poyer is a big unrestricted free agent going into next year.
Tremaine Edmonds also.
Edmonds is a big one. But he wants a lot of money. I don't know if the Bills should pay that.
I don't know.
They should use some of that money, get some of that money off the books, and look for a number 2 receiver.
Yeah.
Because their offense, in my opinion, was the biggest letdown in that game against the Bengals.
Yeah.
Defense tried to do whatever they can to stop them, but they were on the field too much, and they were getting way too tired out there.
Right. There's only the game, there's an offense and a defense for a reason.
Exactly.
There has to be a balance between the two in order to pull off big wins like that.
Right.
So, and I think that, I don't know, it's almost like an opposite of last year. Not that the defense let us down in the end because that was such an amazing game nonetheless, no matter what happened.
On the cover 0 play to Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Yeah.
But this time the offense just never was able to get into it, and we got kicked, and you face the consequences after that. So
Joe Burrow's a good quarterback. So if you're going to lose to a team, I think Cincinnati's a respectable team to lose to in the playoffs.
I didn't like how some of them acted.
No, not T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a great player, but Eli Apple needs to shut his mouth.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But we could jump right into Super Bowl for like the next 2 minutes or so. The Chiefs and Eagles. No, I don't want to say nobody wanted to see this. Shout out Aaron Sember. Your team won again. The Kansas City Chiefs.
Aaron.
But Patrick Mahomes is a 2-time champ. Travis Kelce is a 2-time champ.
Yeah.
But the fact that you could see the two Kelce brothers in the Super Bowl facing against each other was pretty cool.
Yeah, and the milestone of the first 2 black opposing quarterbacks too was
Yeah.
also a huge milestone. So.
And the fact that Kansas City can do it without Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Andy Reid is going to go down as a Hall of Fame coach, one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
And I have, without a doubt, confidence that Jalen Hurts will be back. That dude is an insane quarterback.
He is.
This is just the beginning for him. I know that he'll be back in the Super Bowl.
He's been so, I feel like, under the radar for so long.
Yeah.
And then he just came out this year, was like, oh, hey, guys, like, I'm just going to bring my team to the Super Bowl.
But I got to ask you, though, was it holding or was it not holding at the end of that game? I'm going to say it was, but the ref threw the flag super late.
Too late.
He should have thrown it right when he, because there was a jersey pull, but he threw it like 3 seconds later.
Exactly.
After the play was over. Like,
That's
dude.
where the difference is. I think I would say it's a holding from the moment where it is a holding, but the flag came way after that.
It did.
So
I thought they were calling pass interference because you never see a holding call go that late.
Right.
But they ended up taking 2 kneel downs to kick the game-winning field goal with 3 seconds. I mean, I think 3 seconds remaining on the clock.
I hate watching a game
to go up
like
38-35.
Yeah.
And then he had a shot at a Hail Mary, but didn't even reach the 20-yard line.
No.
And the Chiefs are Patrick Mahomes is 2-time champs.
Yeah.
What do you think about Travis Kelce? Thinking he's a
He's
WWE superstar
yeah.
out there.
I mean,
Like, he catches a first down pass and hits him with the John Cena. He talks like The Rock. I'm like, Travis, I respect how good of a football player you are, but shut up.
Yeah. It can be, the ego always comes into play. You never know. But I think that's what the Bills need to do, is that I feel like the Chiefs can pull out a bunch of trick plays. Kelce is never covered somehow. We talk about this all the time.
And he's 6'8".
He is always wide open, and it's incredible. And I think that if the Bills can translate that, then we can catch up finally. But
I think for the Bills, they run a lot of designed runs around their quarterback.
Yes.
If they can run a jet sweep or run like a trick play that nobody can really expect.
Right.
I mean, the reason why Philly won the Super Bowl a few years ago was because of that Philly special trick play against the Patriots.
Exactly.
They open up their playbooks a little bit, run some stuff in practice, and they win the Super Bowl.
Right. You can't be predictable. You got to have your options wide open. You got to run like the annexation of Puerto Rico. Have you seen Little Giants?
Yes.
Yeah, the annexation of Puerto Rico.
But you know what? Also, we're talking about the Eagles here also. Real quick before we transition here. Shout out Philadelphia and their offensive coordinator. Shane Steichen is the new head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, just signed today. What is it with the Colts signing their Philly guys? Frank Reich came from Philly, so if you're as bad as Frank Reich, you're lucky, Sports Hours. I'm leaving after this semester because you don't want to hear from me anymore.
Yeah.
But Sarah, thanks for coming on. Threw a lot of
you,
information at you. This is just the beginning of this semester, guys, so don't go away. In approximately 1 minute, we're going to have Justin on to talk some NHL hockey.
When you think of the local lowdown, what do you think of?
Well, when I think of the local lowdown,
Justin? Or
it's the live music that we have played in the studio.
It's gotta be the laughs we shared. The memorable moments during the whole thing. Oh my God, so fun.
The local lowdown for me is the people behind the scenes, the amazing team that we have making the show.
Oh, it's gotta be exploring all sorts of genres and music I've never heard before.
Oh, easy. Going out to shows and talking to artists and getting the latest news on what they have planned for the future.
It's about these artists, man. Giving them a platform to showcase what they've worked so hard on and show their music to the community. It's all about supporting the local scene of music to keep it running for years to come. And of course, about the merch.
That's doing the NHL segment. What the heck, man? Wow. Well, we have Jenna on here to talk some NHL hockey. What's going on?
Not much.
Your first time on Sports Hour, by the way.
This is, yeah. I'm new this semester, so.
Let's go.
First, I want to talk about the halftime show a little bit because you guys didn't really.
No, we
touch
had a
on
lot
that.
of important things to discuss, but.
Rihanna Oh my, it was so good. I mean, first of all, we didn't realize that she was pregnant, and that just came out per a rep afterwards.
And she was like 60 feet or 60 stories up in the air.
Yeah, that was insane.
Like,
and her backup dancers, they were crazy.
no, that was weird. That was a little freaky, but you know, we've seen Katy Perry and the Sharks, so I'm kind of been like expecting the unexpected when it comes to Super Bowl halftime shows and stuff like that. But I mean, to be able to do that, that was like her first performance in a long time.
Yeah, I think probably from 2016. That's when she released her last album. So that's what I think.
You know what? Just keep doing you, Rihanna.
Yeah.
I mean, I really wanted you to open up with Umbrella because we tried to get like this $5 bet going, but nobody guessed the right opening song, so nobody won or lost money. But if you played Umbrella, I would have won $15.
I mean, I thought Ponder Replay should have been.
That would have been a great one, especially for the Super Bowl.
Open with that, get into S&M.
You got to play Take a Bow, you know, bring it down a little bit with Take a Bow and then bring it right back up with something else.
Yeah.
I don't mean to judge, but like, play your hits, Rihanna. Come on now.
I mean, all of them were kind of hits, though. It's like,
True.
when I was watching, I didn't realize how many hits she exactly has, but...
Yeah, like, I forgot a lot about, like, a lot of those songs.
Same.
And I was like, wow, she's, like, had a lot, like, a big part of my childhood with all those songs.
Yeah, me too.
But, I mean, solid show.
Yeah.
The game was meh, in my opinion. I didn't really care about the two teams that
me
played in the
neither,
Super Bowl. But do we want to talk about the Sabres?
First, I think maybe we should talk about the NHL All-Star game.
Yes, I'd rather talk about that anyway.
So we were supposed to have Tage Thompson going for us. He was injured. I think it was upper body, so we sent Rasmus Dahlin instead. He
Machine.
He participated in the hardest shot contest, and then I think he got second. And then
Yeah, like 102.7 miles per hour, something like that.
102.3.
3,
I think.
yeah.
That was crazy.
The dude's a freak.
Yeah.
Rasmus Dahlin's an absolute machine.
Yeah, and then overall, in the Atlantic Division, we won. I think it was 7-5 to the Central Division to just close it all off. And I'm not sure, was it in Toronto? I believe it was.
I think it was, yeah. Pretty sure. But there's a lot of mixed feelings about the All-Star game. Like, a lot of people didn't really care for it, but at the same time, it's like, it's better than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
It's better. I would rather watch the NHL All-Star game than the Pro Bowl. Like, the fastest shot, fastest skater, hardest shot, fastest skater, and just the overall All-Star game. That's a whole lot better in my honest opinion. But it's good to see Dahlin getting some All-Star time as he should, because I think he's going to be like that next top defenseman in the Eastern Conference, if he isn't already. He'll be like a 7-8 time All-Star by the end of his career, no doubt about that. But it was solid. 7-5 was a high-scoring game. I would have expected a lot like low-scoring because you're getting the best goalies from each division in there. But it was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, I liked it. And then in news for the Sabres, we recently signed Dylan Cousins to a 7-year contract. I believe it's $50 million.
We stole him.
Something crazy like that. Racehorse from Whitehorse. Hate that nickname, but
Yeah, I think our boy Dan Dunleavy for coming up with that one. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, the TNT guy, white workhorse, racehorse, white horse, something like that. But you know what? We locked him up. I think we're paying him $7 million a year. I think it's like almost identical to the Tage Thompson contract, so that's very, very good. And he's kind of cooled off a little bit, Tage Thompson. The Sabres team overall has cooled off just a little bit.
more than a little bit.
Fifth in the Atlantic Division. So Don Granato can't talk about, well, at least we have all these games in hand. Well, you really don't anymore because the team that's right behind you has also played 52 games and also has 56 points. We're talking about the Detroit Red Wings. Sabres are on a 4-game losing streak. They lost to Minnesota. I'm going way back here because they had the All-Star break and their little Bahamas trip that they left their offense in the Bahamas. But let's see. Minnesota lost. I don't even remember the game before that one was a loss. It's been such a long time since we had a win. Carolina was a 5-1 loss, 7-2 to the Flames. And then
there.
That's, wow.
Yeah.
I would have left it like the second period.
I did.
And then we lost last night to the Kings 5-2. What was the line combination? What was up with that?
I don't know. I don't know why they changed it to that. And I mean,
Middlestat on the
crazy.
first line? Like, are we? I think we left our brains in the Bahamas.
the only thing that I think Middlestat has done good for us so far has been that goal in the Calgary game, but
Yeah.
I mean, still lost that one. So
I will never. I woke up around like noon because it's the weekend, right? I go ahead and turn on the game, and I'm like, oh sweet, it's like 2-0 Buffalo. I'm gonna go to the other room and make some food. I come back and it's like 3-2 Calgary. I'm like, what just happened?
yeah, we started off really good in the first period. Thompson got our first goal on the power play, and then Middlestat got another one. And then it just all went wrong after the first intermission.
I think the floodgates just opened up.
Yeah.
Like as soon as that first one went in, it was rough for Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and he's still really young, hasn't had a lot of NHL experience yet, but it's times like some of those goals are like, dude, you gotta make that save. It's gotta be routine. But you know what? I think that's a team that we could beat, honestly. I think we beat them in Calgary earlier in the season.
Yeah, we did.
We doubled the score on them, and then they came back and almost tripled the score on us. But you know what? It's I guess, meaningful games in February. We got to be winning these games. We're losing 4 in a row. The game last night, I will solely blame on the head coach.
Oh, yeah.
Going down, losing that game 5-2. They had a lot to play for. I think Dustin Brown's number was getting retired last night. And they had like the whole pregame ceremony. The game was supposed to start at 10:30, but it started like 10:40 something because of the whole ceremony thing. So they had a lot to play for, but there's no excuse putting a guy like Casey Middlestat on the first line when he hasn't proven that he is worth anything on this team, at least for this year, and the grand majority of last year. There's a reason why he's on the second power play and not on the first one. So why would you put him on the first line, 5-on-5? I'm not a coach, but I think as an average or as like a fan, I think I would know that, hey, let's not try this in the middle of a game. Like Casey Middlestat. The fact that he's still on the team is annoying, but you're going to put him on the first line and then separate Tage from Skinner and then stuff that's been working all season long. I just don't get it.
And I mean, it's a little bit surprising, especially because when we go on our road trips out west, we're usually scoring, if not the most, then close to the most points that we can get. And then here we are not having any in this game. And then we have one game tomorrow, I believe it's Anaheim, and then just one more, and then we're back home.
Ducks, San Jose, and then we're hosting the Maple Leafs on the 21st. So those should be pretty good games.
That's always a fun one.
But the Ducks, we've proven that we can beat lines that worked. Forget about that game. Throw all that in the garbage.
I mean, we also proved we could beat the Kings. I mean, what, it was 6-0
True.
last time?
6-0. And I was at that game. 0-0 after 2, the Sabres score a touchdown in the third and win that game 6-0. But I don't know. The Sabres used to really struggle out west, but it's been like over the course of a year or two, they've been normally pretty good.
Yeah.
I think they were, 3-0, 3-1 on the out west this year going into that game? Because I think they lost to Seattle. So they're probably 3-2 now. But they got another game against the Ducks tomorrow. Gibson's in goal. We know how to score against him. A lot of teams know how to score against him. Then we got the Sharks. Again, a very rebuilding team. But if you look at the standings, we still have games in hand with teams like the Panthers. They have 4 games on us, and they're only 4 points ahead. So we're only 2 games out of the 4th spot in the Atlantic. The Penguins and the Capitals are both in reach for the wild card. It's not over by any means, but those are the games you have to win.
It's gonna take some work, and I believe maybe we can get there. It's just we're gonna have to wait and see.
Yep. Got to start winning, and you got to start sticking with what works. Your all-star, Tage Thompson, scoring against Calgary the first game back.
That was an impressive shot. That was really good.
He has really turned on. Like, we thought he was great last year, gets that contract extension, but he turned into a superhuman this year.
I think now he's at like 68, maybe 69 goals for the season.
I mean, definitely like on pace
Crazy.
for it, yeah. But we've never seen anything like that from a player like Eichel, or we've had captains like Jason Pominville, but they wouldn't score a lot of goals like that. Yeah. So that brings up the question, like, Kyle Poso's contract expires this year. Who do you think should be captain for the Sabres next year?
Honestly, I'm thinking they give it to Dahlin, maybe.
Dahlin
I mean,
would be
he's
good.
already an assistant, I believe.
Yeah,
So.
he already wears the A, so he already has a little bit of experience there, but I would give it. I think Tage is very underrated in that voting, but I would also give it to Alex Tuck.
I would give it to Tuck too.
He's a guy who grew up rooting for the Sabres. Like, there's a picture of him at 6 years old wearing the red butter knives jersey on like his backyard rink in Syracuse.
That's cute.
He's been rooting for the Sabres that long. And his first thing he said when he came here was, "I can't wait to be a Sabre." Like, when was the last time someone actually said that?
I
The
couldn't tell you.
revolution that is Alex Tuck. We need him on this roster. Tage Thompson, I wouldn't mind him being the captain next year, but if we could get close, just maybe on the outside looking in, or if we barely squeak into a spot, that's so much improvement. That's a weight lifted off our shoulders. It's something that we can take into next year too.
Yeah.
So I think, you know what? Go Sabres. Go
Sabres.
Sabres. Jenna, great job your first time on.
Thank you.
We are going to get into some NBA/NCAA basketball with Ethan in about 1 minute when we return. Don't go away.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect.
Happy to have Ethan on for the first time here.
Happy to be
this
back.
semester. Ready to talk some NBA trade deadline, talk a little
Yeah.
NCAA hoops? If we get there?
If we get to
there's
college,
a lot
because
going on.
the NBA
There's a lot going
is
on.
a completely different landscape last time we left off.
We left off when? December?
We left
middle
off
of
December. You know, teams were just figuring out their identities, you know, trying to figure out
2 months out with
who
the deadline.
they were, you know,
Yep.
trying to think of where the pieces fall. Nets, third in the East. Bombshell hits Monday night before the trade deadline happens. Kyrie Irving just demands a trade. And Joe Tsai and Kyrie, obviously, before the season had their little spat. Kyrie shared some sensitive information on Twitter. Joe Tsai disagreed with that
They
sensitive
like to
information.
talk on Twitter, don't they?
Yeah. Wow.
Ooh.
NBA players on Twitter is just like oil and water.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kyrie demands a trade.
Or a rattlesnake at a square dance. You know.
Yep. Rattlesnakes and square dances.
Yep. They're not a good mix.
I don't think are rattlesnakes in anything a good mix.
Fair point. Your point is well taken. I do agree with that.
It's rattlesnakes in anything.
Rattlesnakes in literally anything. Oh, except Stone Cold. His nickname was a Texas rattlesnake. So.
Right, but is Stone Cold a human? Or is Stone Cold more of a
Dude,
cyborg?
sometimes I've seen some of his matches from like 1997. He's
That
not
man
human.
That man is part something.
No,
for
he's
sure.
like.
Maybe he's part rattlesnake.
I think we just solved something out right here, right here live, guys.
This is why we watch.
This isn't
Sports
even
Hour.
our WWE segment. Like we gotta wait till like later in the semester.
Yeah,
for that,
like when we run out of material and anything else, it's real sports. Anyways,
so.
back to basketball. Kyrie
Nets.
Irving demands a trade. That night, the Dallas Mavericks make a splash. Kyrie Irving dealt for Dorian Finney-Smith. Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Cameron Johnson. Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith and a couple of picks for Kyrie Irving. That duo, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, playing together are so far 0-2. They have no wins. They have combined for a total of 37 points. Both players 30-plus scores last night in a losing effort to the Washington Wizards. Kyrie looks great. Luka Doncic looks great. Obviously, people knew that Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving together, two very ball-dominant players, two also very smart players. So obviously that offensive system is still taking time to get working, but both players performing well. The other half of the two-headed monster in Brooklyn, Kevin Durant.
How about this?
Also had to be traded, and they got quite the return. They got runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year last year. Michael Bridges, Jay Crowder, who had been sitting out most of the season, Cam Johnson, a promising young prospect, as well as Dario Saric. The Suns...
JPV?
JPV. The Suns also add Kevin Durant, who, as most people know, is one of the greatest scorers in the history of the game and can take any team from good but not great to titleship contender. The Suns, obviously betting odds for titleship contention for the title to outright win it, jumped from, I think they were 7th to 1st.
Yeah, it was something outrageous like that, yep.
I don't think he's played a game for the Suns yet, but when he does, they will look incredible, I'm sure. The Nets, to their credit, before trading Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving before the deadline, they had a breakout player. They had Cam Edwards, who became only the third player in NBA history, one of the third player in NBA history under the age of 20 to score 40+ in three straight games. He joins LeBron James and Wilt Chamberlain as the only players to do that.
Those are two pretty
solid
good players right there. But also on the same side, the Nets received a lot of draft capital.
Yes.
So it's not all bad. They got rid of a bunch of stars, but you know what? They're blowing it up. They're rebuilding. They're kind of starting from scratch. They got a 2023 first rounder from Phoenix, 2025 first rounder from Phoenix, 2027 first rounder from Phoenix, 2028 first round pick swap from Phoenix. They got a second from Milwaukee in 2028, a first rounder in 2029, a 2029 second rounder. So what the Suns are doing is they're trading their future away to win now. A very, very risky move. We've seen that in the NFL. We've seen that a lot in the NBA. But the Nets hope that they can build through their draft capital, through their young stars in the next few years, then maybe they can get to where the Suns are right now. But the Suns, if you remember, they've never won a title. They've been close, especially with guys like CP3 on the roster, but they've never won a title.
They got close to Steve Nash that one year.
Very, very close to Nash.
Yes, this scene in a lot of times of trading up your future for the present, and I think no team, no roster in the association is better suited for trading up their future for the present than the Phoenix Suns. You have a 37-year-old Chris Paul who has regressed quite heavily from where
he used to be. Who's just ring chasing at this point.
From what he used to be. He's still never won a ring, and he can cement his legacy by doing it this season. You have Devin Booker, who has stagnated in his development. He was young. He was a great prospect to become a great player. He hasn't gotten much better than where he's been previously. You have DeAndre Ayton, who just signed to a supermax extension, who is not getting any better. He's 23. I think he's 25 now or something. But again, like Devin Booker, hasn't gotten much better. You add Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant can take this team to the finals. He can take this team to win the finals.
He's been there.
And when you're taking teams that are good but not great, those first-round picks don't end up equating to much anyways. Think about it. First-round pick for Phoenix, they kept it this year. They're going to make the playoffs. They're a solid team with Michael Bridges.
So it's going to be a high pick.
So it's going to be late. It's going to be 23rd. So would you rather have a 23rd-round pick or Kevin Durant? Look at the Los Angeles Rams last season in the NFL.
Exactly.
They traded away literally every draft pick they had.
Three consecutive to
Detroit.
Picks
to get Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
They won a Super Bowl that season. Do you think that team, that fan base, cares what their first-round pick was? No, they don't care at all because
they might care now because they fell off a freaking cliff. But
right, but they also won a championship.
They did win a championship. That's the number one thing you're going for in sports.
In professional sports, your only goal, the only thing you are chasing in any season is a championship.
Yep.
The Phoenix Suns are chasing that championship, but they have big competition. Dallas Mavericks re-upped. They got Kyrie Irving, who again, one of the hottest names in the market.
So it's a big risk.
It is a big risk.
It's a huge risk.
And a team that I thought would take a larger risk was the Los Angeles Lakers.
Right.
And they didn't. Their big risk was trading Russell Westbrook and a bag of chips.
I think that was them waving the white flag
for D'Angelo Russell.
Yep.
That's them saying LeBron got the scoring title, which congratulations to LeBron, one of the greatest players of all time.
Passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Is the highest scoring player in the history of the association, which is a record I don't think will ever be beaten in my entire life.
Yeah, at least in our lifetime, I don't think.
But he needs help. LeBron needs help.
And he's still going to be playing for what he said he wanted to play until his son got drafted,
so
right?
That's at least 2 seasons away. But LeBron, the best player he got at this trade deadline is D'Angelo Russell, who hasn't been good for 4 seasons. Yep. He had that one good season in Brooklyn, went to Minnesota, and became like the Minnesota equivalent of like Ish Smith.
Yeah.
He's an above-average point guard on
best.
some nights. On most nights, he's 15 points a game, which is not what they needed. They needed a Kyrie Irving. They needed a Spencer Dinwiddie. They needed a Jalen Brunson, but they didn't get any of these players because I don't know why. So now they have D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Mohamed Bamba, who was most famous for a song made by Sheck West 6 years ago.
Orlando legend, by the way.
Jared Vanderbilt, and Devon Reed. I don't even know who Devon Reed is. I know nearly every player in the NBA. I don't know who Devon Reed is.
Never heard about him.
Apologies, Devon, but I don't know who you are.
Maybe we'll hear about you sometime.
Maybe
he's gonna be one of the greatest to ever play.
Maybe he's gonna prove us wrong, Trevor.
Man, you imagine watching this years from now and just be like, I remember that guy.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, could you imagine?
But there's a reason. I'm gonna go back to the Nets real quick. There's a reason why the Nets gained a lot of that capital back, and especially when you're talking about 2025, 2027, 28, and 29. Because when the Phoenix Suns, this might be a 1 to 2 year window max. You'll have maybe Durant wants to leave, depending on what happens in the outcome this year. CP3 got to be thinking about retirement now. Has to be
And
thinking
if
about
not,
that.
he might just get forced out of the league.
And if they don't win, they're going to get some high picks because they're going to be rebuilding. By the time 2027, 2028, 2029 arrives, I almost said New Jersey. Wow. Brooklyn could be receiving very high picks in the future.
So,
yes.
like, watch out, fourth graders.
It's a huge risk. Watch out, fourth graders, maybe seventh graders in the area.
Some modified basketball teams out there getting some NBA scouts.
Yeah, we'll
for sure.
get some scouts out to your middle school gyms.
Yeah,
it's pretty
We'll
cool.
see what's going on at West Seneca East Middle School.
Oh man, what else? I mean, other than the Lakers sitting on their hands and watching the rest of the West
Speaking
get
of
better.
teams sitting on their hands, I thought two Eastern Conference household names would be active in the deadline, and they were surprisingly quiet. The Miami Heat come to mind. Pat Riley made no moves at the deadline, and that Heat team looks like they're struggling to tread water out there. They are looking pretty terrible. Jimmy Butler's not getting any younger.
No, he's not.
Bam Adebayo is still one-dimensional on offense and a really good defender, but that's pretty much all he is. You look at Kyle Lowry, 36 years old. I mean, he's slower than I am out there. And
Raptors legend, though.
Raptors legend. And speaking of the Raptors, another team I thought would blow it up. I thought the Raptors would blow up.
I didn't think that they would be in contention for anything.
No one does, but apparently
I guess they were buyers.
Masai Ujiri saying something that I don't, because he traded for Jakob Poeltl at the deadline. I think it was a first-round pick.
You got to respect the move, though. He wants to be a buyer, wants to be a contender. He doesn't want to lose.
But I don't think the Raptors were Jakob Poeltl away from a title.
No.
I think they needed a bit more help than that.
Yes.
And I don't think keeping
At least that's a good step in the right direction.
But you're keeping 27-year-old Fred VanVleet, who's just entering his prime on an expiring contract, around. I don't think he's going to be a Raptor next season. You're keeping 24-year-old Gary Trent Jr., who's again expiring deal. We have no bird rights. He's not a restricted free agent, unrestricted free agent, entering free agency. Probably not going to
test the market.
Raptors.
Yep.
Why not? And do we have the cap room to bring out these players? No.
Nope.
Fred VanVleet's going to go out there and get probably close to $30 million a year. Probably,
Right.
I mean, these contracts these days, Gary Trent Jr. is probably going to get a super max extension because some team like Milwaukee or some team like Phoenix has the money to blow on these players, and the Raptors will be lost without anything.
Right. And the Raptors signing or trading for these rental players when
Again,
they might not even make the playoffs.
Deal.
They might not even make
the
the
Raptors
playoffs.
should have blew up.
They really should have. But you know what? I respect the hustle that they bring to the table. They think they're going to go somewhere.
And hopefully
prove
they
us
do.
wrong, man. But Ethan, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
There's a lot to discuss. We'll get into some more of the NCAA stuff once we get closer to March. Thanks for coming on. We're going to have Brent coming on to talk our new segment, Indoor Lacrosse. So stay tuned.
O-Town.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey. All right. Welcome to the new segment.
New segment?
New segment alert. Like the red light's going off right now. You want to
Before we
know?
get into anything though, Trev, I gotta
Yeah.
say, you are V-Day dripped out right now,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Some
Like-
say that
Like
I
usually
am
we see
dripped
this
out.
kid wearing an ugly hat like the Astros or the Colts, but like
What are you talking about, man? This is an Astros hat, you nerd.
I spoke too soon.
Bozo the clown.
I gave you a compliment and now I kinda...
You're welcome.
All right.
All right.
Well, let's dive into some NLL.
Remember when I said the red light was going off? There's a team in the NLL that makes the red light go off 24/7, 25/8. You know what team
I was
that
about
is?
to say 365, but that's
366 every 4 years, man. We're talking about the Buffalo what? Bandits. 7-2 on the year.
7-2, just got into first place.
Three-way tie for first place.
Three-way tie for first place. Yeah.
We got Bandits, Rochester, and Toronto are all tied, but the Bandits they actually have the tiebreaker over both teams because they have a better conference record than both of those teams combined.
And I want to just speak on Dane Smith.
The Great Dane.
The Great Dane. The Great Unit. Leading the NLL in points.
He's a machine.
He has 92 points.
Oh, it's fitting because he's number 92.
That is true. That is true.
Believe that?
It's almost like it was supposed to happen.
It's almost like it was supposed to happen.
But
you know what?
We go to a Bandits game together.
Yeah.
Like we went to a Sabres game, and we got to go into the suites and
with
drink
Dr. Min.
and drink our Blue Lights.
And drink our troubles away.
Well,
that
no,
would be
not
fun.
The Bandits. They usually,
They
usually give us.
Unless they go to the championship. Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about. I was at that game. We know that.
I was at game 1. Hey, man, we won that game, but you were at game 3.
Maybe I'm bad juju. I don't know.
Maybe we should only just go with Dr. Min, or maybe Chris Chira'ira. Maybe we should go with him next time.
Maybe Chris Chira'ira will fix the stream. Because I can't see myself. But it's okay.
Yeah, yep. I wasn't gonna say a word about this, but I mean, are you kidding me? First week back, and I don't see myself on the screen.
I don't even know what camera to look at.
Yeah, like what? Like this one, this one? I never look at this one, but like, what's up? If you're on that camera. But like, I never look at that one. But anyway, 7-2. Could the Bandits win the title this year? Do you think this year, more than any other one, is the year they can win their first title since 2008?
You see, I got worried when we traded away Connor Fields.
Yeah, me too.
Because he's actually like, he was one of our best players, and he's from Buffalo, graduated from Timon, hometown kid.
Used to be a ball boy for the Bandits.
Yeah.
Growing up.
And he went to Vegas originally.
Yep.
But then got picked up by Rochester, and I was like, well.
He's going to be scoring 4 goals a night against us. Yep, that's going to be fun.
They're already one of our rivals, so that just boosted that even more. But we just played them recently, and it was a good game. Great game, actually.
We were missing Josh Byrne in that game, Chase Frazier, missing Chris Cloutier, 3 of our great goal scorers that we have. And at the time, Rochester was the best team in the East. Bandits took them down. They scored 13 goals. I mean, the secondary scoring on this team, this depth is absolutely elite.
It is. And our goalie, do you want to talk about our goalie?
Matt V. No, Vince. You're the man, dude. Like, you're like 40 years old. You can bench like 400 pounds, and he's solid in the net. Now, we went to the Rochester game. My sister's behind the camera. We went to that Rochester game in Rochester, and he looked like absolute garbage. But then the Rochester Nighthawks come to Buffalo, and he looks elite. He turns the lights on.
He turned on the lights.
He turned on the lights, and the Bandits turned on the red light 13 times to win the game. Led by Dalton Solver, guys like Brad McCulley, Ian McKay that were scoring a lot of goals. Dane Smith scored 4, I want to say, 4 goals in that game. Defense was absolutely shutting them down. Dude, can we talk about the game this week against the Philadelphia Wings? A team that we already beat this year on the road, 13-9. This time they're coming to Banditland.
Yep.
What do we think is going to happen with Josh Byrne coming back from injury?
I honestly think Philly's going to be in for one.
They're going to be in the ringer, man.
I think they're underestimating the Banditland crowd.
Oh,
I don't think
you can never underestimate that.
No, you can't.
I mean, 15,000 strong wearing their orange colors, like.
People wearing the crazy big.
Oh, whose house?
Whose house?
Stain House. You mean the orange afros?
The orange afros.
Yep, I miss Mark Stainhouse. The dude is such a legend.
Mark Stainhouse and what was the other guy's name?
Johnny who?
Johnny Tavares.
Our head coach, our heart and soul of the team. And he's still got to win his first title as a head coach. So what I'm saying is, we already beat them 13-9 on the road. You know what we got to do this Saturday?
You know what I got to do?
Let's beat them 18-9 this time.
I got to turn my mic on. I've been going this whole time with no mic.
But I hope that the camera audio at least got you saying, whose house to ain't house? Because we love Mark Stainhouse. If you're a Bandits fan, you don't like Stainhouse, like go be a Nighthawk fan or something.
Or just don't even be in Buffalo ever.
Yeah, but like, what do you think about this week? You got Philly.
Now that my mic is turned on,
led by,
and
you know,
at home
you got Philly players such as Joey Rezateris and Jacob Nottenor, and you have Blaze Riordan, and I don't know. I mean, the goaltending Zach Higgins used to be a Bandit. We can score against him. He's not very good. Thoughts on that offense coming into this week?
I think with Josh Byrne coming back, Dane Smith staying hot, and you know the boys rallying recently.
Matt
Big win over
Vince.
the Nighthawks. I'm gonna predict we're beating them 14-10.
14-10. I think that's pretty safe. But we got to cover Joey Rezateris. I mean, that guy used to be a Bandit.
Yeah.
Now he's one of those players that's like, oh, he got traded out of Buffalo. That means every time he faces against the Bandits, he's going to be absolutely elite, and he has been.
This isn't like the NHL, where we trade away players to different teams, and then they play us, and then they go off every single time they play us.
Yep.
And then, you know, they go and win championships for years on end.
Philly's not a good team.
Philly's not a good team.
No, they're not.
And we are a good team, as we mentioned earlier. 3-way tie for first. So, and not even to mention the Bandit land behind them. I
mean, the in-arena announcer, who was a complete beauty, Chris
What
Swenson.
is his name?
Chris Swenson.
Chris
Swenny.
Swenson. He is an absolute unit. I love that guy.
Defense! How about a defense?
B-O-X.
B-O-X. Box. Woo! Dude,
absolute
we got to go to a game. You know what we should do? We should do a live sports hour from a Bandits game.
I would totally.
Like uncensored,
Well, we can't even figure out how to remote broadcast a Fred game. So how are we going to do a Bandits game? That's gonna
talk to the higher-ups about that one.
We're going to need Edward to fix the stream.
You know what? He's had to fix it. We're gonna have to have Topher come back. Where did he go?
Topher's
right?
MIA.
Like, where's he?
Are you watching this, Topher? Probably not.
No, probably not. No, you're probably not tuning
We fixed it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Don't worry. We don't need you.
you.
It's all right. No.
We did NBA just fine.
What's this doing on my computer screen? Get that out of here, bro.
I didn't know what that
I didn't even notice that for the last 58 minutes. And where's the picture of Mark Stainhouse I put up there?
You put a picture of Stainhouse in there.
It was a picture of him with DJ turntables and DJ headphones on there.
Where is it?
At a Ball for Bucks benefit.
This is crazy.
No, we'll have it on next week. We'll have it on next week after the big dub, after we go 8-2.
You're right. All right, so we'll get back into NLL a little bit.
So,
Got
I mean,
carried away.
Week 11 happened. The Bandits were on a bye week. You know what? Good. Came off of back-to-back a couple weeks ago and a big win over Rochester. But if you're scoreboard watching, Toronto beat Georgia. The Swarm were 0-6. They also play them this week. So Toronto's probably going to go 8-2 no matter what. But Rochester is on a bye this week too. So we can get half a game ahead of them, but we still have a game in hand over them. I don't know if we should be scoreboard watching, just focusing on the Bandits, but we kind of need Georgia to pull through here.
We kind of need to scoreboard watch a little bit. Because, I mean, now it's coming down to the final wire.
We're already halfway through.
Yeah, that's what
season.
I'm saying. Like, we're going to have to pull it together here and just win. That's all we got to do. We just got to win.
And if the
It
Bandits
doesn't even matter
don't
what
win,
the score is of the other games. Just win.
And if Georgia can pull through against Toronto, I mean, do it. I'd love to go a full game over the Toronto Rock.
That's like, that's kind of asking for like a miracle.
Yeah, it's kind of like asking for like Skylar Thompson to like beat the Bills or something.
That's kind of like asking Donnie Meatball not to put Middlestead on the first line. Like, that's almost.
That's kind of like asking the announcer from 2K7 not to say
Vancouver.
like in the General Motors place.
Yeah.
It's going to be impossible.
You know what else? We
What?
might have to read credits. Because there's
I'm
no
not
screen.
doing that. I'm not going to do that. I will just sit up here and just talk about the greatness of the Bandits for the next hour if I have to do that. I'm not reading anything.
Because you can't read?
Yeah, I can't read. So, I can't read, me so dumb. But you know what? We're winning this game. And
we're winning this game.
You said 14-10. I said 18-9. I don't care. Philly sucks.
20-0.
Philly, you know what? We forgot to mention this earlier. Their MLS team lost the championship. They lost the World Series. They lost the Super Bowl. They're going to lose 18-9 this Saturday to the Bandits. It's
and
not even going to be close.
They're not even going to be close to getting to the championship.
And in the name of Mark Stainhouse, they're going to score 18 goals. Because 9 times 9, when you double 9, which was his number, is 18.
But 9 times 9 is not 18. 9 plus
9 times 9 is 80. Let's score 81 goals. Let's score 81 goals.
81-0. That's the new prediction. Shut out from the 40-year-old.
That's my 40-year-old goalie. That's my 40-year-old goalie,
Bro,
Matt Vince.
We have a trend in Buffalo, I swear.
Dude, put us in the suite with Dr. Min, and we are winning that game 18-9.
That's what I'm saying.
And then we're going to drink our Labatt's.
And some
Trulies. And some Millers or whatever else we could find when we're scavenging in there.
While we're eating some wings with blue cheese.
With Dr. Min.
Dr. Min.
Because he's rich.
But
he
we
throws
also,
that money up in the air all the time.
What are the odds that the Bandits are playing Toronto coming up? And the Sabres are also playing Toronto coming up.
They should play on the same, they should do
the same night.
You know how like youth hockey tournaments would have play half ice? 2 games would be going on.
Yeah.
They should do that for the NLL and the NHL.
Imagine.
They should absolutely do that.
3-on-3.
3-on-3, but and then sometimes John Tavares will pull on a Sabres jersey and then skate out there with the boys.
When Middlestat decides to trip over his own
feet.
Dude,
I'd rather have JT, the lacrosse player, not the hockey player, lace up his skates more than Casey Middlestat.
I'd rather have Craig Anderson be a player than probably have our
I'd
roster.
rather have Daniel Briere.
Yeah, honestly. Or
Jacob Nodendorf.
Yeah, he's a good one. Oh, we're not even on.
Oh, well, how would I know?
How would I know?
How would I know? I can't even see.
Oh, we're still on.
Oh, we're still on.
We're still on.
I can't even see the credits.
We can't.
Oh, do I have to read them? No. Okay, we have to write everybody's name in the script now. We're going to take 5 minutes and write everyone's name. Who's here?
No. We don't need to write anyone's name.
Roll call.
We got it right off the head. Ready?
Brent, are you here?
On VTR.
VTR.
We have
this person and that person.
E-Dog, but he's now in here.
No, Ethan's right there.
But he was on VTR.
What was your position, man?
Audio. We have Cammy. What's the other?
I was just gonna do roll call. Brent, are you here?
No.
Raise your hand if you're here. All right, Brent. Mark Stainhouse, are you here? Oh, there he is. Whose house?
Stainhouse.
I said, whose house?
They're gonna have to turn me down.
Yeah.
I'm about to scream it. I won't do it.